أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك صوت عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات.
صلوات بھیجیں محمد والے محمد پر. اللہم صلی. صغرا سے ملا دو، صغرا سے ملا دو، بیمار بہن کا مجھے چہرہ ہی دکھا دو. بابا بابا صغرا سے ملا دو، صغرا سے ملا دو، صغرا سے ملا دو. یہ بات ہے صد غم کی، گھٹا چھائی ہے مجھ پر، پھل برچھی کا ٹوٹا ہے میرے سینے کے اندر. اے بابا نہ بچ پائے گا اب آپ کا اکبر. بیمار 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 بہن کا مجھے چہرہ ہی دکھا دو، صغرا سے ملا دو، صغرا سے ملا دو. آتا ہے مجھے یاد مدینے کا وہ منظر، میں آؤں گا آیا تھا یہ بیمار سے کہہ کر، اب کہنا ہے جان دیتا ہے یہ تیرا برادر. بیمار 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 بہن کا مجھے چہرہ ہی دکھا دو، صغرا سے ملا دو، صغرا سے ملا دو. کیا حال ہے بھائی کی جدائی میں بہن کا ہے کون خبر گیر خدائی میں بہن کا معلوم ہے دل رہتا ہے بھائی میں بہن کا بیمار 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 بہن کا مجھے چہرہ ہی دکھا دو صغرا سے ملا دو صغرا سے ملا دو کیا اس پر گزرتی ہے بتا دیجئے مجھ کو صورت میری خواہر کی دکھا دیجئے مجھ کو ممکن ہو تو آواز سنا دیجئے مجھ کو بیمار 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 بہن کا مجھے چہرہ ہی دکھا دو صغرا سے ملا دو صغرا سے ملا دو دو انگلیاں شہ نے جو اٹھائیں سر میدان ہم شیر نظر آئی مدینے میں پریشان سرور نے کہا اب نہیں کہنا یہ میری جان بیمار 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 بہن کا مجھے چہرہ ہی دکھا دو صغرا سے ملا دو صغرا سے ملا دو بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات اور محمد والے محمد صلوات ایک اور صلوات بھیج دیں اے ماں تم مجھے پاس بلا لو مجھے پیاس ستاتی ہے اے ماں تم مجھے پاس بلا لو مجھے پیاس ستاتی ہے تربت سے علی اصغر کی تربت سے علی اصغر کی آواز یہ آتی ہے اے ماں تم مجھے پاس بلا لو، مجھے پیاس ستاتی ہے۔ یاد آئے بہت مجھ کو تیرا جھولا جھلانا ہے، کبھی سینے سے لگا کے تیرا لوری سنانا، جب ریت گرم پیاری ماں، جب ریت گرم پیاری ماں میرے تن کو جلاتی ہے، اے ماں تم مجھے پاس بلا لو، مجھے پیاس ستاتی ہے۔ پیاس کی شدت سے گلا سوکھا پڑا ہے زخمی گلا اس میں ماں درد بڑا ہے، تربت میں اکیلا ہوں میں، تربت میں اکیلا ہوں میں، تنہائی ڈراتی ہے، اے ماں تو مجھے پاس بلا لو، مجھے پیاس ستاتی ہے۔ جھولے میں پڑا اصغر دن رات ہے رویا ہے، جب پیاس بجھی اس کی تو پھر چین سے سویا، مقتل میں سکینہ پھر کیوں، مقتل میں سکینہ پھر کیوں اسے ڈھونڈنے جاتی ہے، اے ماں تم مجھے پاس بلا لو، مجھے پیاس ستاتی ہے۔ اختر یہ گواؤں نے جو پیغام دیا ہے، اصغر تجھے صغرا نے بہت یاد کیا ہے، ایک بار مدینے آؤ، ایک بار مدینے آؤ، بیمار بلاتی ہے، اے ماں تو مجھے پاس بلا لو، مجھے پیاس ستاتی ہے۔ تربت سے علی اصغر کی، تربت سے علی اصغر کی آواز یہ آتی ہے، اے ماں تو مجھے پاس بلا لو، مجھے پیاس ستاتی ہے۔ صلوات۔
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد۔ برائے خوشنودی امام زمانہ بلند تر صلوات.
جب زخم کھا کے بلتے علی کے پہ سر گرے، جب زخم کھا کے بلتے علی کے پہ سر گرے، جلتی زمین پاتش ناج گر خون میں تر گرے، غل پڑ گیا کہ خاک پرش کے قمر گرے، سن کر حسین قلب و جگر تھا میں کر گرے، سن کر حسین قلب و جگر تھا میں کر گرے، عباس دل پہ داغے علم کھا کے رہ گئے، ہاں جعفر کے پھول دشت میں مرجھا کے رہ گئے، جعفر کے پھول دشت میں مرجھا کے رہ گئے، باجے بجے سپاہ عدو میں جو ایک بار ڈیوڑی پا آ کے کہہ گئے اکبر بحال زار، اے بیبیوں میری پھوپھی اماں سے ہوشیار، گرزوں سے فرق آن و محمد ہوئے، گرزوں سے فرق آن و محمد ہوئے فگار، آئے تھے ہم بھی صرف خبر کے سنانے کو، جاتے ہیں شہ غریبوں کے لاشیں اٹھانے کو، جاتے ہیں شہ غریبوں کے لاشیں اٹھانے کو، ہاں خیمے میں یا تڑپتی رہی زینب حزین، لاشوں پہ بھان جو کہ وہاں پہنچے شاہدین، دیکھا کہ غش ہیں خاک پہ دونوں وہ محجبی، بہتا ہے خون بات کی طاقت ذرا نہیں، بہتا ہے خون بات کی طاقت ذرا نہیں، ڈھالیں گری ہیں چھٹ کے دل و روح کے ہاتھ سے، ہاں قبضے مگر چھٹے نہیں شیروں کے ہاتھ سے، قبضے مگر چھٹے نہیں شیروں کے ہاتھ سے، زینب جو ننگے پاؤں کھڑی تھی قریب در عباس جا کے دیتے تھے یہ دم بدم خبر روئیں نہ حضور مہم ہو چکی ہے سر لاکھوں سے لڑ رہے ہیں غضب آپ کے پہ سر لاکھوں سے لڑ رہے ہیں غضب آپ کے پہ سر زور آج پھر دکھا دیا خیبر کشائی کا اب تو انہیں کے ہاتھ ہے میدان لڑائی کا اب تو انہیں کے ہاتھ ہے میدان لڑائی کا یہ ذکر تھا کہ بھائی کو حضرت نے دی صدا عباس آؤ گھر گئے زینب کہ دل ربا دوڑے صدا یہ سنتے ہی ابا سے باوفا سنائے راہ میں علی اکبر نے یہ کہا سنائے راہ میں علی اکبر نے یہ کہا زندہ رکھا فلک نے پانسو بہانے کو ہاں چلیے حضور جاتے ہیں لاشیں اٹھانے کو چلیے حضور جاتے ہیں لاشیں اٹھانے کو ہاں پیاری بہن کے بیٹوں کا دیکھا جو شہنے ہاں تل چاک چاک ہے گل صدبر کی میں سا الجھے ہیں پیچ کھائے ہوئے گے صبحوں کے بعد او دے ہیں ہونٹ چاند سے چہرے لہو سے لال او دے ہیں ہونٹ چاند سے چہرے لہو سے ماتھے ہیں شق سروں سے امامے بھی دور ہیں ہاں سب چھوٹی چھوٹی پسلیاں تیغوں سے چور ہیں سب چھوٹی چھوٹی پسلیاں تیغوں سے چور چلائے گردنوں کے تلے ہاتھ دے کے شاہ منہ سے ملا ہو منہ کے میرا حال ہے تباہ آنکھوں میں دم تھا بولے تھے کیوں کر وہ رش کے ماں روتے تھے نبض دیکھ کے ابا سے عرش جا روتے تھے نبض دیکھ کے ابا سے عرش جا دنیا سے کوچ کرتے تھے بچے پلے ہوئے ہاتھوں میں تھے حسین کے ملکے ڈھلے ہوئے ہاتھوں میں تھے حسین کے ملکے ڈھلے ہوئے کچھ کچھ ابھی تھا دم کے انہیں لے چلے امام کے لاش کو تو آپ لیے تھے شہ انام، اور ایک لاش حضرت عباس نیک نام، خیمہ تھا سامنے کے بضاعت ہوئی تمام، خیمہ تھا سامنے کے بضاعت ہوئی تمام، جیتے نہ پہنچے ہائے غضب خیمہ گاہ میں، ہاں دونوں صغیر مر گئے اثناء راہ میں، دونوں صغیر مر گئے اثناء راہ میں، شان ہلا ہلا کے پکارے شہ ہدا، ہمامون سارے ہوش میں آؤ تو ایک ذرا کچھ حال دل سناتے ہوئے جا او میں فدا، یہ سن کے دونوں شیروں نے کی آنکھیں نیم وا، یہ سن کے دونوں شیروں نے کی آنکھیں نیم وا، دیکھا رخ امام تو گھبرا کے رہ گئے، ہاں یاد آ گئی وہ بات کہ تھرا کے رہ گئے، یاد آ گئی وہ بات کہ تھرا کے رہ گئے، ہاں مولا نے پیارے سے کہا ہے یہ کیا کیا، ہاں لرزاں ہے جسم کس کا تمہیں ڈر ہے، میں فدا شہ کے قدم پکڑ کے پکارے وہ محلقہ، ہاں دھڑکا ہمیں یہ ہے کہ کہیں ہم نہ ہو خفا، دھڑکا ہمیں یہ ہے کہیں اماں نہ ہو خفا، زحمت ہوئی امام فلک بارگاہ کو، ہاں سمجھی نہ وہ کہ ہم نے بلایا ہے شاہ کو، سمجھی نہ وہ کہ ہم نے بلایا ہے شاہ کو، ہاں چلائے رو کے حضرت عباس نامور، ہاں چھوٹا تمام ہو گیا یا شاہ بحر و بر، حضرت پکارے ہاتھ کلیجے پمار کر، ہے بڑا بھی مر گیا ویراں ہوا یہ گھر، ہے بڑا بھی مر گیا ویراں ہوا یہ گھر، ماں منتظر ہے بال پریشان کیے ہوئے، ہاں کس منہ سے جاؤں خیمے میں لاشیں لیے ہوئے، ماں منتظر ہے بال परेशान किए हुए, हाँ किस मुँह से जाऊँ खैमे में लाशें लिए हुए, किस मुँह से जाऊँ खैमे में लाशें लिए हुए। जब जख्म खा के बिलते अली के पे सर गिरे, पर मोहम्मद व आल मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. May Allah bless you all, inshallah, with the shafa'ah of Sayyida Zainab, with the shafa'ah for our brothers, and with the strength and the prayers by the haqq of Sayyida Zainab, by her sons Aun and Muhammad, that our sons are inshallah protected, filled with iman, filled with love and strength to be able to present tawheed, present nubuwwah and imama as it should be presented in today's age, inshallah. And inshallah, we take that first step towards education, and it's a lifelong journey, inshallah. Sayyid, alhamdulillah, with us. We have a few more nights with Sayyid. The private, alhamdulillah, the private alim sessions have been a blessing to us. A lot of you have taken advantage of it. Most of the slots are actually all full that have been shared. If you still would like to connect with Sayyid on a one-on-one private for a private session, sign up anyways. Inshallah, we'll do our best to accommodate and find time for you. There are a few more sign-ups, inshallah, to recite salam. There are a number of salam options are available, and very soon we'll share the sign-up for the amal, the day of Ashura, the amal of the day of Ashura. There's a number of spots that are available. Please help us collectively, inshallah. We'll do amal, which will be Tuesday, inshallah. The time will be shared, but I believe it'll be, inshallah, around 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. We'll start with the amal. And remember, the eve of Ashur, the Shabidari program will start after Maghribain. And today, on the topic of Maghribain, today we'll have Dua Kumail recited after Salat al-Maghribain. I just, on behalf of the organization, I want just remind you and I that we need to get to that $25,000. That's the fund target that has been set in place. That's the financial fund. Your du'as at all times. There is no limit for your du'as. However, there is a financial contribution of $25,000 that's desperately needed to continue the message of Abu Abdullah. And again, we do a small little portion in the servitude of Abu Abdullah. So please do take advantage. I know outside we have the POS system set up for debit credit, and then online as well is an option, e-transfers at finance@alzahra.ca. So with that being said, I'm going to request everyone that's sitting in the middle or the back, come as close as forward as possible so we don't disrupt the Sayyid throughout the Majlis, as we need to, as people come in later on, inshallah. So sit as close as possible. May your ajr, may your thawab be with Abu Abdullah Hussein al-Shaheed. Sayyid Kamil Kazmi, with your loudest of salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And we will also take advantage of reciting Surah Al-Fatiha for Sayyid, for your and our marhumin. Surah Al-Fatiha tasbiq as-salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli. Did you get the message about the Thank you so much. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين وسيما بقية الله في العرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. Salawat, please. روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. What this means is, may our ruh, our nafs, and the nafs of every individual in the alameen in existence be sacrificed for the 12th Imam? No, 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 no. For the dirt where his footprint is at. That's how much humility we have towards our Mawla. For the sake of the shafa'a of those who have requested it, some people are in ICU, and they have requested from the Azadar of Aba Abdullah, who have such humility towards the host of this gathering, the Hujjah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to pray for the betterment of those individuals. In our riwayat, we have a zikr that one of the best du'as to recite for the shafa'a of an individual, in fact, is Surah Hamd itself. Please recite Surah Hamd for the shafa'a of all the mu'mineen in the world. Inshallah, may Allah give them shifa soon. We started our discussion, we talked about the idea that, well, Muharram is very similar to Ramadan. It's a month of change, it's a month of development. And we've been sharing consistently certain reminders, such as making sure we say salam to Abu Abdullah in the morning and in the night. Yesterday we mentioned that we cannot treat Abu Abdullah less than our best friend. So when we're in difficulty and hardship, we should remember him and talk to Abu Abdullah. The point today that I'd like to mention is sometimes we attribute the giver of the blessings incorrectly. And what ends up happening is then those blessings that giver has given to us, they don't end up developing the relationship with the giver. Let me give you an example. Imagine I'm sitting in your living room, okay? And all of a sudden the door rings, and then the Amazon package guy comes and he's giving you a gift. Okay? For some reason you attribute that it's Sayyid who's giving you that gift. All of a sudden you're like, oh wow, Sayyid got us a gift. And then another door rings and another Amazon package comes in and you get a second gift. And a third and fourth and so on and so forth. All this while you're thinking Sayyid is giving you all these gifts. And you attribute all those gifts to me. And all of a sudden you're becoming very happy. You say, oh wow, this person is giving us a lot of gifts. He seems to really like us. And your relationship with this individual who you're assuming to be the giver of the gifts starts to become better and better. Where in fact the real giver of the gift was somebody else entirely. Sometimes when we don't allocate the giver of the gifts correctly, that relationship between the giver and us doesn't develop. One of the key reminders of developing a relationship with Abu Abdullah is to attribute the gifts and the ni'amat we have is with him. For indeed, the Ahlul Bayt are the ones by whom the ni'amat and the blessing that we have been given to us. For them we say, Babullah bihi yu'ta. They are the door of Allah by which things are granted. It's through them. So this association is important. When we associate the blessings that we have with Abu Abdullah, then we slowly, in experience, start to develop a real relationship with him. Not only for ourselves, but our kids as well. Salawat, please. In the first lecture, we talked about the meanings that control us. We saw the people of Kufa, and we saw that how they associate the title Qudra in a very incorrect manner. In the beginning, they associated with numbers, and later on, they associated with coin and sword. When Ibn Ziyad came, they associated Qudra incorrectly. In the second lecture, we saw that, well, Qudra in the eyes of Abu Abdullah is that Qudra is always with Haqq. And anything that opposes Haqq, Abu Abdullah saw that as weakness entirely. And he wrote a letter to the Banu Hashim stating that if you join me, you shall become shaheed. Hence you will see Qudra with Haqq, such that even you will give your life for it. And if you don't join me, you will never ever see victory. So this is how Abu Abdullah and his caravan looked at the Qudra. The third session we talked about the hardship of running away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His mercy, of course. And we established that when it comes to the actions that cross the red lines of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the hardship that occurs after crossing that red line is much greater than the hardship of stopping yourself from crossing the red line. And that's why Allah has made that red line. We continued on the fourth lecture, we talked about the idea of which life is better than death. We saw that family, education, finances, fitness, all these things, they're extremely important aspects of life. But if they're not associated correctly to the path of Abu Abdullah, at every stage that you progress, in fact, you're getting stronger in opposition of Haqq. See, Yazid, if Yazid was only controlling 3 people, compared to Yazid who was controlling 30,000 people, the stronger he grew in the appearance, the greater of a stand he could take against Haqq. So for each capacity that we grow in without being connected to the caravan of Abu Abdullah, without having that capacity connected to him, in fact we're growing in that particular capacity in opposition of him. There's two routes here. Either you're with the caravan of Abu Abdullah or you're not. Salawat, please. And if you're using those finances or that fitness or that family or that education in a way which was not in line with how Abu Abdullah wanted you to use, and that meant you were standing now on the opposite side of Abu Abdullah. If that was the case, it was better off that you would be dead. For such a life which is against Ahlul Bayt is not a life worth living entirely. One of the secrets of Allah is that He grants the zalims long life. One of the secret punishments of Allah is that He grants the zalim long life. Let me explain this for you a little bit. There's a hadith from our Imam where the Imam says, Alhamdulillahi alladhi ja'ala a'da'ina min al-humaqa. Praise be to God. Which God? The God that made our enemies from the humaqa. In Urdu we say the word ahmaq. Praise be to God that He made our enemies those who are very foolish. They don't recognize that in the appearance of Qudra, they're actually weak. One of the ways Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punishes a zalim is by giving him a long life. Let me explain. You see, Right now, we are witnessing an entire genocide taking place. Okay? Over 30,000, close to 40,000 kids, women, individuals who have no real way of defending themselves. They're killed off. The perpetrator of this genocide, imagine if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a shorter life where he died 7 years ago. Okay? Let's say he died 7 years ago. Compared to this particular person dying, let's say 7 years later. In his akhirah, what has happened? If he died 7 years ago, the act of committing genocide is not in his Name Amal. He just simply hasn't done it. One of the punishments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the dhalim is He loosens the rope a little bit. He says, run. You want to run? Run. And in being a dhalim, that person commits atrocities and genocides and problems, which yields in what? The just deserts for that. Now that individual is mustahiq of a place in hellfire that he was not 7 years ago. This apparent elongation of his life is the makr of Allah. This apparent elongation of an appearance of qudra, an appearance of power, is the makr of Allah. Because that very appearance, when it's separated from haqq, is weakness itself. It leads that individual to a deeper place in hellfire. Salawat, please. And this is why the Imam has said that, Alhamdulillah, that our enemies are foolish. Because when they're given abundance, they continue to use it against us, thinking they're actually in abundance. While in fact, they're just digging their own grave. They're going further down hellfire. By the means of that very apparent appearance of power they were using against the haqq. The letter of Abu Abdullah that we've been covering these few nights, he says to his brother Muhammad ibn Hanafiya and the Banu Hashim, "Man lahiqa bina ustushhid, wa man lam yalhaq bina lam yudrik al-fath wa salam." Those individuals who see qudra with haqq, they'll join us, and because they see qudra with haqq, they'll be willing to give up their life for it. Because they see power with haqq, no matter what the cost is. And those individuals who do not join us, hence they're joining what? Batil. Abu Abdullah is making that two ways. Those that don't join us, there's only one route for them. What? Lam yudrik al-fat. They shall never taste victory. The question comes, what gives value to your life? Is there anything valuable that is away from Abu Abdullah? In Dua Arafah, Abu Abdullah states, ماذا وجد من فقدك? The person who has done wajada of you, O Allah, the person who's found you, what has he lost? Okay. And then he continues and he says, the person who has lost you, what has he gained? We say the very same statement to the Hujjat of Allah. O Abu Abdullah, the one who lost you, what has he gained? And the one who found you, what has he lost? True value in life is only with joining with Aba Abdullah. Wassalam. Otherwise, lam yudrik al-fatih. Salawat, please. There's a story of Amir al-Mu'mineen I'd like to share here. See, when the second Khalifa was passing away, he appointed a council of 6. Okay? He said, to succeed after me, I will wish to appoint a council of 6, and these 6 individuals themselves have to pick one amongst them to lead. Okay? And there's a gathering where some of those 6 are gathered in front of the second Khalifa, and in that hadith, you have to go check it yourself. The second Khalifa tells each one of those individuals there, the few of the 6, what their flaws are. Saying, I'm sure you can't be the Khalifa after me because you have these flaws. One of the individuals he points the flaws of is actually the third Khalifa. Anyways, there's a group of these 6 individuals, and the leader amongst them is told that if there is disunity amongst them, if any one of them doesn't agree with the choice of all 6, if it's not unanimously decided, kill them. Okay? Now these 6 individuals are placed in a room of sorts, in a house of sorts, and they have to debate and they have to talk about who's going to be the third Khalifa. In the book Khisal, you will come across Amir al-Mu'mineen and how he communicates with the council of 6. Amir al-Mu'mineen is one of them. So is Uthman, the third Khalifa, the current third Khalifa who our brothers believe him to be. In that particular gathering, Amir al-Mu'mineen is telling them reasons for why which none but him should be the Khalifa, for the position is rightfully his. It's a very beautiful hadith in Khisal. There's an argument in the midst, and Salman Farsi outside comes with a couple of ashab of the Holy Prophet and says, we will not accept anybody except Ali ibn Abi Talib. And now this council of 6 comes outside. At this point, that chieftain of the council of 6, he approaches Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, we will make you the Khalifa. If you put your hand out in front of everybody over here, and you repeat after me, we will make you the Khalifa. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, what do I have to repeat? He says, first say, I will follow everything that Allah has told me to do. I said, okay, I will do everything that Allah has told me to do. Second line, I will do everything that the Holy Prophet has told us to do. Easy. I'll do everything the Holy Prophet has told us to do. Then a third line is added. I will keep to the sunnah of the Shaykhain, first and second Khalifa. Over there, Amir al-Mu'mineen says a very beautiful line. He says, is there any goodness left after I listen to Allah and the Holy Prophet that I have to listen to the Shaykhain? This statement of Amir al-Mu'mineen is a lesson for us. Ya Hussein, is there any goodness that's separate from you? No. No, there isn't. So what gives value to our life? Well, it is in joining Aba Abdullah that we find value in our life. Okay? And when we separate from him, we're in fact better off dead. For every breath we take separate from him is in fact one of the makr of Allah, pushing us deeper into hellfire. There's a riwayat by Amir al-Mu'mineen. Please write salawat, please. Amir al-Mu'mineen says that وَمِنْهُمْ, he's talking about the Muslims, تَارِكٌ لِإِنْكَارِ الْمُنْكَرِ, the person who lets go and stops considering bad things as bad, بِلِسَانِهِ, by his tongue, بِقَلْبِهِ, by his heart, بِيَدِهِ, by his hand, فَذَلِكَ مَيِّتٌ أَحْيَا, that person is a dead guy walking amongst the living. Amir al-Mu'mineen considers the person who doesn't think bad is bad as a dead individual. So what gives value to our life then? The exact opposite of that. If the tariq of inkar, of munkar, was dead in the eyes of Amir al-Mu'mineen, then the one who's not the tariq of that is an alive person in his eyes. The person who considers bad is an alive person. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us in the Holy Quran. He says, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا, save yourself from separating from the caravan of Abu Abdullah, and save your family from separating from the caravan as well. Okay? قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا, save yourself from hellfire and save your ahl from hellfire too. And indeed, hellfire is separation from Hussein. And we've studied in recent lectures talks about the development of the family unit. We've talked about that. Talked about spouse selection. We've talked about different aspects of being a husband in the house and so on and so forth. Today, one of the most important topics that we wish to look at is the tarbiyah of kids. This day we've gathered here is to commemorate who? Two very brave and rightly guided and rightly raised kids. So if we want to be those individuals who want to be part of the caravan of Abu Abdullah, we have to know how the caravan of Abu Abdullah raises their kids. Salawat, please. Let's start with an analogy. Okay. Imagine you own a business, and so you're the project owner, and you're looking for a project manager. Okay. And a person comes to you and he says, I haven't really studied management, and I have no experience in it either, but inshallah, you give it to me and I'll dekhenge. What will you tell such a person? You're the business owner. What will you tell such a project manager? I said, take a hike, buddy. This business this is an important business, my only livelihood. This is a really important thing for me. You're telling me you neither have the education for management, nor you have any experience regarding it. And you want me to trust my business in your hands. What would you say to parents about to have a child, but they haven't studied the science of tarbiyah, nor they have any experience regarding it? See, raising kids is like managing a project. There's goals, there's deadlines, and there's phases. And you have to allow for the development of that particular product in a right manner before the deadline and the appropriate phases. And who's the project owner? It's Allah Himself. Let me share something with you. Salawat, please. some people might say that, well, you know what? Our parents didn't raise us this way. They didn't go to classes for tarbiyah. We turned out fine. So what's the need for us to go towards classes for tarbiyah? Our kids, inshallah, will turn out fine too. Let me read a verse of the Holy Quran for you, inshallah. These tough things I don't like to say from my own self. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ. When they're told that do ittiba', follow that which Allah has given to you, قَالُوا بَلْ نَتَّبِعُ مَا أَلْفَيْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا. They say to the Holy Prophet, what do they say? We'd rather follow what our forefathers used to do. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rebukes these people who have this way of thinking. He tells them, أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ. This is not specific for one small group of Muslims back then. Quran is not a history book. It's not a book where you put history and it's only relevant to back then. No. If it was not a source of guidance for me and you today, it would not be in this book. For this book is a guidance for the muttaqin. Hudan lil muttaqin. So over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rebukes one very important trait. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, blind imitation is not okay. Imitating our forefathers, we should have lots of respect for them. We should love them. But blind imitation is not okay. أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ. You have to consider, is that thing that I'm trying to imitate and copy from the forefathers now to myself, does it have hidayah in it? Does it have guidance in it or not? Is it logically sound or not? Does it fit the time that I live in today or not? When they were raising me, was the deen of shaitan as prevalent as it is today? No. When they were raising me, deen of shaitan is code word for the people of Lut. When they were raising me, was the deen of shaitan as prevalent and as easily accessible as it is today? Of course not. So the amount of vigilance I as a parent need to have today is compared to the amount of difficulty my child has to face today. And the difficulty my child has to face today is significantly larger than what I had to face when I was growing up. Salawat, please. See, we have in Surah Tawheed, we say, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ. And we say, Lam Yalid. Okay? I want to open Lam Yalid for you. Yalid, to give birth. Lam Yalid, he didn't give birth. Okay? What happens at birth? When mammals give birth, between the mother and the child, there is an umbilical cord that connects them. Lam Yalid means that there is no creature of mine where the umbilical cord is cut. I haven't given birth such that you're separate from me. Each creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as per Lam Yalid, is ever connected to Him in every state He's in. Each creature of His is ever connected to Allah in every state He is in. Meaning me and you here, the only way me and you can exist and be here and talk and think and do the Azah wa Abdullah is because we have existence. Every other trait of ours is secondary to existence. So the one who's sustaining our existence, we are connected to Him. At every moment we have existence. So this project owner is giving his very valuable thing that is ever connected to him in your hands when you wish to be a parent. Salawat, please. So we can't take this responsibility lightly. We cannot say, inshallah, one day when time comes, we'll learn. No, if I am in the state of either having a child or very soon about to have a child or planning to have a child, this is an important thing for me to learn now, not later. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us this project, He also has associated phases to it. In a very famous hadith, we are told, treat the kids who are from 0 to 7 like, tell me, like kings. Treat the kids who are 0 to 7, treat them like kings. Okay. Let's open this up a bit more too. When we're making rules, we always have to understand that there's hikmah behind the rules. There's a logic and there's a reasoning behind the rules. For example, when we're making rules for coming here into the Husseiniya, we might say, when you come in, please come sit in the front. Okay? But we will never come and make a rule saying that when you come in, don't take the TV home. That rule doesn't make sense. We'll laugh if someone made that rule. Right? Because there's no tendency for anybody to take the TV home. But there is a tendency for people to sit in the back. So when you're making rules, you're always making them based off of tendencies. Okay? The same applies for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala too. Allah knows that He has a mama and a baba that He's going to give the child to. And He knows that the mama and the baba, they have a tendency. And I want to prevent that tendency. So I'm going to make a rule. The mama and the baba have a tendency of micromanaging and controlling the child where they want to be the king. So Allah comes and says, 1 second, from 0 to 7, let me make a rule. You have a tendency for this, let me make a rule, let them be kings. When Allah makes a rule, it tells us about our own tendencies. Okay, salawat please. It doesn't make sense to make a rule when there's no tendency. Just as how absurd it would have been if we made a rule saying that don't take the TV home, right? It would have been absurd. You'd say, you might even get offended, right? In the system of Allah, it's the very same thing. There is no batil in His rules. So when He makes a rule, there is a tendency present. And if He's making a rule, then He doesn't want you to follow that tendency. In that phase, 0 to 7, He's saying, don't be the king. Mama Baba, you're not the king. The child is the king. But Allah is exact too. He didn't say the child is God. You see, when kings go against God, we go against kings. When kings go against God, we go against kings. Allah did not say, treat them like God. He could have. He didn't say that. Salawat, please. So parents have this tendency to micromanage and control their kids, and when they come to the Husseiniya, they might say, I want to see my kid sitting beside me for the full 2 hours, not moving 1 inch. Well, somebody who's in the age group of 0 to 7, they simply don't have the capacity to do that. You see, in the age group of 0 to 7, if you see a child sitting in a corner not being childlike, that's actually dangerous in the science of tarbiyah. In the science of tarbiyah, we're taught that's actually dangerous. That child is penting up his childness. When it explodes, when it comes out as a teenager, that's where child rebellion takes place. Okay? In the next phase, if the first phase isn't given its due right, whatever the due right was, it makes its way through, but it makes its way through in the next phase, and you're stuck now. In the science of child tarbiyah, we're taught that these phases have a purpose to them. In 0 to 7, there's a need for that child to run, scream, sometimes break things, hopefully in your own house. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set a rule now. Treat the children who are from 0 to 7 as kings. And is 7 like an on-off switch? Of course not. Another salawat, please. This project owner also gives resource to the child as well, because he's ever connected. Remember, there's no separation. He's always there with the kid too. So every time you treat the kid, the project owner is always watching how you're dealing with his business. It's not like if you're a project manager, imagine the project owner being right beside you 24/7 and every decision you make. That's a lot more harder than you being on your own and managing things and the project owner is at home. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is right there beside his creation. The project owner is right there. And he sometimes gives resources to the project itself to help with the phase. In the beginning, he'll give him ample energy because he wants him to run around and express that energy within him. This is the time to take them to the parks. This is the time to let them run. It's a time to not hold them down. No, this is a time for him to make noise. Be scared when you're hearing silence in your house. Don't wish for that. When you have 0 to 7, you want them to be kids. You want them to run around. You want them to be in this energetic mode. A little while later, the project owner comes and he gives them the why. Around 2 to 3 years old, he gives them the capacity to ask why. Okay. Where the West will call them terrible twos, that's actually a very wonderful time. See, this why is now Allah telling you, the project manager, that this business is ready for phase 2. Now they want to learn about where they're finding themselves to be. And guess whose job is this to tell them where they are? Your job. Sometimes we have a misconception that we think that we are not the walid but the malik. There's a difference between walid and malik. We're not the owners of our kid. We're the upbringers of our kids. And how do we know that? Allah calls the parents what? Rabbayani saghira. Allah could have said they're the smaller maliks. Allah could have said that. But that's not how He introduces the parents. He calls them what? Rabbayani saghira. It's a message to the parents. Listen, you're not the owner, huh? I'm the owner. I'm the project owner. You're the project manager. So you don't get to treat your child as you want because you're not the owner. You have to act in line with what the project owner wants you to do. Salawat, please. We have to know a little bit about the description of the phase. We have to learn a little bit about the ideal destination of that phase. Okay? And we have to know about how to get our children to that ideal destination. In the phase 0 to 7, we've talked about a little bit about the phase, what it looks like. The children, their intellect has not fully developed. What that means is that they're still in the phase where their shahwa and their ghazab is pure. The intellect is not controlling them. So if they're angry, they'll say they're angry. They won't have this ability to mask it. Because that which masks shahwa and ghadab is your intellect. When the control mechanism is missing, well, then there's no control. Whatever is inside, you're showing that. So that's where the start of this phase starts from, 0 to 7. There's no control mechanism. Okay? And the feelings are 100% genuine too. It's not like they're pretending to be angry to get something or hurt you somewhere. No. If they're angry, they're showing anger. They're happy, they're showing happiness. 0 to 7, this phase, in the beginning especially, very genuine in its ways. So what you see is what you're getting. There's no filter there. Another salawat, please. They also don't have this understanding of other individuals. But intellect is missing, right? Intellect is not fully developed yet, so they don't have the idea of conceptualizing what you might be feeling or what you might be going through in the earlier phases of 0 to 7. Remember, it's a journey from 0 to 7. By around close to 7, yes, you're hoping that that's the ideal of that phase, that you start developing some of those things. But in the beginning, they don't have that. So when you're dealing with them, you have to be considerate of that. Let me share a story with you. The wife of the Holy Prophet, Hazrat Salama, she brings for the Holy Prophet a baby to hold. Okay? And that when the Holy Prophet is holding the child, because the Holy Prophet was somebody amongst the Muslimin, he would love to interact with their children. This is known about him from his etiquettes, that if he was to come across a kid, he would be the first to say salam to the kids. This is known from the etiquettes of the Holy Prophet. He wouldn't wait for them and say, beta first use. No. When he came across a child, the Holy Prophet was the first to go and say salam to the child. So Salama brings a child to the Holy Prophet, and the Holy Prophet is holding the child. And this is the age where there's no diapers, right? So the child starts, the hadith narrates, the child starts to urinate. And to Salama, she becomes panicked and she wants to try to grab the child and pull him away from the Prophet. So the Holy Prophet basically doesn't become dirtied. His clothing doesn't become dirtied. So she wants to come and she wants to grab the child quickly. The Holy Prophet stops her. He says to her, don't scare that child. See, the Holy Prophet recognizes this child does not have recognition of what you're going through, what this is going through. This is bad, this is good, this is najis, this is tahir, this and that. This is the Holy Prophet of Allah. The child doesn't know. And the Holy Prophet in this hadith, and there's many other examples of this, is displaying his consideration towards the child. Salawat, please. There are many narrations, we only quote like one or two where the Holy Prophet is playing with Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein and he's the horse. And prayer time comes and he tells his ashab to ransom him from Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein. This story is not true only for Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein. This happens many times. The Holy Prophet, when he was with kids, not just Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, when he was with kids in general, and prayer time would hit, he wouldn't say, okay, Khudafiz, and leave. His ashab would come find him with the kids, and he'd tell them things like, ransom me from them, buy me from them. In certain narrations, they would give the kids some dates and take the Holy Prophet and say, okay, now we can pray with the Prophet. He would be considerate of the child's level of understanding. And the Ahlul Bayt, she teaches us too. They say what? Kallim al-nas, talk to the people, ala qadri uqulihim, at the level of their intellectual development. Are kids not part of nas? Of course they are. When we're dealing with kids regarding certain things, we have to deal with them understanding that at what level of intellectual development are they at? Can they understand what I'm trying to do and say? Or no? Salawat, please. We have in our riwayat, it's a very special riwayat. This one, whenever I read, I get very happy. Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein alayhi salam playing as kids. One of the games Imam Hassan and Hussein would play together as kids would be wrestling. They would wrestle one another. In the riwayat it stated that the Holy Prophet would cheer Imam Hassan and Hazrat Jibreel would cheer Imam Hussein. We have to allow our kids to be exactly that. Our Ahlul Bayt are our role models. See, these developmental phases of us, they're extremely important. It's not just play for that child, it's his nafs developing. He needs to experience those things so his nafs develops. Yes, for you and me who have grown up, it seems to us like child's play. But imagine our biggest problem, imagine your biggest problem. You take your biggest problem in front of Aba Abdullah. My biggest problem in front of Aba Abdullah is child's play. But Aba Abdullah still deals with me in my level. Imagine one day Aba Abdullah treated us at his level. Uh-oh. The Ahlul Bayt have taught us to always communicate and talk to the people at their level. This is truly important in the development of our kids. Salawat, please. To join the caravan of Aba Abdullah, we have to ensure that our kids are also joining that caravan. It cannot be that I want to join the caravan and I'm joining solo. No way. قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. Make sure you and your family join the caravan of Aba Abdullah. Tonight we're here gathered talking about parents and their efforts. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You see, a mother, the amount of care she puts toward her kids, and she raises her kids, she makes sure nothing comes of harm to her kids. In nighttime, she stays awake when her kids are awake. In morning time, if her kids are feeling sad, she feels sad. Every pain her kids feel, she feels it too. A mother has a very unique relationship with kids. When around the age of 10, a child might want to go play on his own, this mother feels worry in her heart. How can I let my child go out alone? What if he falls? What if he gets hurt? See, a mother is the manifestation of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for their children. Tonight we're talking about a mother, and tonight we're talking about her efforts. Tonight we're talking about a mother, and tonight we're talking about her 9 and 10-year-old children. Tonight we're talking about Own, and tonight we're talking about Muhammad. You see, when a mother sends her children to play in the park and she gets worried, imagine how a mother would feel, because in a park no one's trying to harm the child. Imagine how a mother would feel now when she's about to prepare her kids on the 9th of Muharram. Tomorrow she knows her children have to go out. She's preparing them. She's saying, "Oh, Own, make sure tomorrow, before Akbar, before Qasim, before anybody else, you go first." She brings Muhammad and she says, "Muhammad, how can it be that the children of my Hussein go before you? Make sure you go first." This mother is preparing her efforts for Aba Abdullah. She's telling her kids, "Oh my kids, prepare yourself for tomorrow is a difficult day." And Own talks to Muhammad and he says, Own speaks to Muhammad, his stance so bright, "You don't have to tell me to rise. I am ready to fight for my Mawla every day and every night. I embody what I say, my love for the Quran so right. I read it every day with a heart full of delight. Thrilled I was when I received this one fateful night." It's the 9th of Muharram. On is talking to his brother Muhammad, and he's telling him how happy I am that this one night was given to me to recite the Holy Quran. And as the night passes in the recitation of the Quran and ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the morning comes and now Muhammad is speaking to On. Brother, time has come, the sun and the sword both have risen, one to light and the other to fight. I love the Quran, read it every night. I'm scared I may not so do tonight. For me in this fight, I'm years away. Own and Muhammad are reconciling with one another and preparing for this great battle to come to defend Abu Abdullah himself. Look at the courage of these young men. Look at the courage of Ali ibn Abi Talib. They go to the battlefield and they fight a good fight. They defend the Haram of Abu Abdullah. They go to the battle and they're fighting the enemy so the best they can. Imagine these are 10-year-old children. And the enemies of Allah, they have a hatred of Amirul Mu'mineen in their heart. And when these kids resembling Amirul Mu'mineen come before them, the enemy of Allah wants to take their entire hatred out on these kids. And the enemies attack the children of Sayyida Zainab. At that time a sound is heard, accept my salam. I did all I could, Mawla. I want nothing from this world but to see your face just once, Mawla. Covered in my blood I am, scared that my mother may see. So come cover me, Mawla. Please come to me. Abu Abdullah hears the sound of these two beautiful children and he runs to the Maqtalgah. He comes to the children of Sayyida Zainab. Azadaro, अगर तरबियत सैयद फ़ातिमा ज़हरा को देखना है तो सैयदा ज़ैनब में देखें। कुरान में ज़िक्र किया है जब हज़रत आसिया हज़रत मूसा को अपना वली मानते हुए, अपना नबी मानते हुए उनकी पैरवी कर रही थीं, तो फ़िरऔन को पसंद नहीं आया। फ़िरऔन ने उनको शहीद कर दिया। शहादत के वक्त हज़रत आसिया कहती हैं, रब्बी, ओ माय रब, ए मेरे खुदा, मुझे फ़िरऔन और ज़ालिमों से निजात दे दे। अगर तरबियत सैयदा फ़ातिमा ज़हरा को देखना है तो सैयदा ज़ैनब में देखें। आज एक वालिदा ने, सैयदा ज़ैनब ने अपने बच्चों को इमाम हुसैन अलैहिस्सलाम पे निसार किया, लेकिन जब अब्बास नहीं है, जब कासिम नहीं है, जब औन नहीं है, जब मोहम्मद नहीं है, सैयदा ज़ैनब आती हैं मक़तलगाह में। वो देखती हैं कि यहाँ पे तमाम शुहदा के लाशें हैं। सैयदा ज़ैनब नहीं कहती हैं रब्बी नज्जिनी, वो नहीं कहती हैं खुदा मुझे ज़ालिमों से निजात दे। देखें तरबियत और सैयदा ज़हरा की तरबियत को देखें। सैयदा ज़ैनब कहती हैं, इलाही तक़ब्बल मिन्ना हाज़ल कुर्बान, बारे इलाहा हमसे इस कलील कुर्बानी को कबूल कर ले। May Allah allow us to be those individuals who respect the sanctity of the Haram of Abu Abdullah. May He allow us to be those individuals who respect the hudud and the red lines of Abu Abdullah. May He allow us to be those individuals who teach our kids to attain that point of shahada, that point of joining Abu Abdullah, Matam Hussein.
नजर आएगी वीरानी घर, माँ न रोएगी तुम्हें
اون محمد کیوں کر ماں نہ روئے گی تمہیں اون محمد کیوں کر جب کہ زندان میں تم دونوں کا سر آیا تھا میں نہ روئی تھی تمہیں تم کو گلا تو ہوگا معاف کرنا جو اگر ہو سکے اے لخت جگر اور مجھ سے پوچھیں گے جو عبداللہ کہاں ہیں بچے کیا وجہ ہے میری نظروں سے نہاں ہیں بچے کیا جواب ان کو یہ ماں دے گی میرے نور نظر اور حجرے دیکھوں گی تمہارے تو تڑپ جاؤں گی کس طرح سے دل بیتاب کو سمجھاؤں گی اب نہیں لوٹ کے آئیں گے میرے رش کے کمر ماں نہ روئے گی تمہیں اون محمد کیوں کر اور تم نہیں پاس تو اب ناز اٹھاؤں کس کے حجرے ہاتھوں سے بھلا اب میں سجاؤں کس کے ہاں کاش مر جاتی تیرے ساتھ ہی دکھیا مادر اور تم نہیں ہو تو مزہ کچھ بھی نہیں جینے میں ہائے اس غم سے پھٹا جاتا ہے دل سینے میں کون اب مجھ کو پکارے گا بھلا ماں کہہ کر اور اے میرے لال تیرے بعد غضب ہم پہ ہوا ہائے اس چشم فلک نے بھی یہ منظر دیکھا ہاں سر برہنا یہ نہیں لے گئے ہم کو در در ماں نہ روئے گی تمہیں اون محمد کیوں کر یا حسین 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 اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، کہتی تھی یہ زینب، کہتی تھی یہ زینب، یوں ماں کا مان نبھانا، یوں ماں کا مان نبھانا، اے اون محمد، 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 اے اون، یوں ماں کا مان نبھانا، یوں ماں کا مان نبھانا، اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، اے اون، شبیر کا تم صدقہ ہو اب خیمے میں بیٹا، تم لوٹ کر نانا، اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، ہے ماں کو یقین تم ماں کی بات رکھو گے، یہ یاد رہے خیموں میں ہے پیاسے بچے، دریا پہ اگر جانا ہو سحروز کے پیاسوں، تم پیاس نہ بجھانا، اے اون محمد، 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 ہر حال میں تم پر لازم ہے شکر خدا کا، اے شہزادوں ہے صبر تمہارا ورثہ، فرزند ہو تم زینب کے شکوہ نہیں کرنا، جب زخم کوئی کھانا، اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، اے اون، کب ہم پہ ستم کرنے کے لیے آئے ہیں، یہ بدر و احد کے بدلے کے لیے آئے ہیں، لازم ہے رجز سے پہلے میدان میں تم پر مدح علی سنانا، اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، اے اون، جب سانس تمہاری بچوں کھڑنے والی، اس وقت سرہانے آئیں گی مادر میری، دل کی یہ میرے خواہش ہے اس دم میری ماں سے زخموں کو تم چھپانا، اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، اے اون محمد، اے آن محمد قاتل پہ کرم نانا کی طرح کر دینا، یوں لاج میرے بھائی کے نام کی رکھنا، جو واسطہ دے بھائی کا میدان میں اس پر تم تیغ نہ چلانا، اے آن محمد اے آن محمد اے آن محمد اے آن محمد، تعظیم کی خاطر کیوں اٹھتے نہیں اب بیٹا، دیکھو تو سرہانے آئے ہیں میرے بھیا، جاگو میرے شہزادوں کیا بھول گئے ہو قدموں پہ سر جھکانا، اے آن محمد اے آن محمد اے آن محمد اے آن محمد، یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین،
اے آن محمد میرے، اے آن محمد، 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 دنیا کو کھٹکنے لگے دو پھول سے چہرے، انسانوں کے سینوں میں تھے پتھر کے کلیجے، تلواروں سے نیزوں سے کیے تم پہ جو حملے، اے آن محمد میرے، اے آن محمد، اے آن محمد میرے، اے آن محمد، دونوں ہے شہیدان وفا آن محمد، اسلام کے مقصد کی بقا آن محمد، ماں کرتی ہے لاشوں پہ جو شکر کے سجدے، آن محمد میرے، اے آن محمد، اے آن محمد میرے، اے آن محمد، بھائی کا یہ عالم مجھے دیکھا نہیں جاتا، ہے نرغے آدم میں محمد کا نواسا، تم ہوتے تو فوجوں کو بہت دور بھگاتے، آن محمد میرے، اے آن محمد، اے آن محمد میرے، اے آن محمد، عباس علی نہر پہ جا کر نہیں پلٹے، پانی کو ترستے ہیں جو خیموں میں یہ بچے، دریا پہ وہ ظالم نے کیے ظلم کے پہرے، آن محمد میرے، اے آن محمد، اے آن محمد میرے، اے آن محمد، اب ہو گئی زینب کو صدا زندگی بھاری، ماں ہوں میرا پتھر کا کلے جا نہیں واری، تم دونوں گئے چھوڑ کے ماں در کو اکیلے. اے آنو محمد میرے، اے آنو محمد، اے آنو محمد میرے، اے آنو محمد.
یا حسین، یا حسین، یا حسین، یا حسین، یا حسین، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر. زخم دل کے دکھاؤں میں کیسے، زخم دل کے دکھاؤں میں کیسے، تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر. لاش اکبر پہ شاہ جب پہنچے، دل کو ہاتھوں سے تھام کر بولے، تیری فرقت میں اے علی اکبر، آگ دل میں میرے لگا دی ہے، آگ دل کی بجھاؤں میں کیسے، آگ دل کی بجھاؤں میں کیسے، تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر. تو ہے کڑیل جوان اے بیٹا، باپ تیرا ضعیف ہے کتنا، نور آنکھوں کا ہو گیا رخصت، مجھ کو آتا نظر خیمہ لے کے، خیموں میں جاؤں میں کیسے، لے کے خیموں میں جاؤں میں کیسے، تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر. جس نے 18 سال پالا تھا، کیسے دیکھے گی وہ تیرا لاشا، تیری شادی کا تھا جسے ارماں، کیسے جھیلے گی وہ تیرا صدمہ، تیری ماں کو بتاؤں میں کیسے، تیری ماں کو بتاؤں میں کیسے، تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر، اکبر، میرا سحریوں والا اکبر. دیکھ آیا ہے خاص دے صغرا، راہ تکتی ہوئے تیری بہنا، تجھ کو بیمار نے بلایا ہے، وعدہ صغرا کا کیوں بھلا ڈالا، غم یہ دل پہ لگاؤں میں کیسے، غم یہ دل سے لگاؤں میں کیسے، تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے، اکبر میرا سحر والا اکبر میرا سحر والا اکبر میرا سحر والا اکبر بھائی بہنوں کا ہے عجب رشتہ جس کا ثانی کہیں نہیں ملتا رو کے صغرا نے یہ لکھا اکبر ایک دکھیاری کی لاج رکھ لینا مر گیا تو بتاؤ میں کیسے مر گیا تو بتاؤ میں کیسے تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے اکبر میرا سحر والا اکبر اکبر میرا سحر والا اکبر اکبر میرا سحر والا اکبر لطف جینے میں اب کہاں اکبر دل سے اٹھتی ہے یہ فغاں اکبر صبح عاشور دی تھی جو تو نے خون رلائے گی وہ عزا اکبر تیری صورت بلاؤں میں کیسے تیری صورت بلاؤں میں کیسے تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے اکبر میرا سحر والا اکبر اکبر میرا سحر والا اکبر اکبر میرا سحر والا اکبر ایسی غربت میں منہ نہیں موڑو میں ہوں تنہا مجھے نہ یوں چھوڑو کیا گزرتی ہے باپ کے دل پر غمزدہ دل کو یوں نہیں توڑو اپنی غربت بتاؤں میں کیسے اپنی غربت بتاؤں میں کیسے تیرا لاشا اٹھاؤں میں کیسے اکبر میرا سحر والا اکبر
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوسيين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا صار الله وابن صاره والوتر الموتور. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بكيت وبكي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله، لقد أزمت الرزية وجلت وأزمتها المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام، وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات. فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت، ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مكامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها، ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم، ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وعليكم منه ومن أشيائهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا عبد الله، إني سلم لمن صالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان، ولعن الله بني أمية قاتبة، ولعن الله ابن مرجانة، ولعن الله عمر بن السعد، ولعن الله شمرة، ولعن الله أمة عسرجت وألجمت وتنكبت لقتالك. بأبي أنت وأمي لقد أزم مصابي بك، فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب صارق مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله، إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وعليك بموالاتك بالبراءة ممن قتل لك ونسب لك الحرب، وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم، وأبرأوا إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانه وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشيائكم. برئت إلى الله وعليكم منهم، وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناسبين لكم الحرب بالبراءة من أشيائهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن صالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم وارزقني البراءة من أعدائكم، أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدقي في الدنيا والآخرة. وأسأل الله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني طلب صارم إمام هدى ظاهرا ناطقا بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم بالشان الذي لكم عنده أن يؤتيني بمسابي بكم أفزل ما يؤتي مسابا بمصيبته مصيبة ما أعزمها وأعزم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مكامي هذا ممن تناله منك صلوات الله ورحمته ومغفرته. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد ومماتي وممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن الآكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل مؤتن ومؤكف وكفى فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة عبد العابدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليهم. اللهم فزائف عليهم اللعنة منكم وعذاب العليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم ولعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين عليه السلام وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بكيت وبكي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني وابدأ له أولا ثم اللعن الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم لعن يزيد خامسة ولعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجان وعمر بن سعد وشمرة وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. سجدة. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مسابهم. الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين عليه السلام يوم الورود وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم. Please take the opportunity to reset, do your wudu. We only have a few minutes. Our sisters